Hey guys, welcome to this week's episode of Conversations with Kelsey. I am going to be talking to you all today about turning the big 30, the 30, flirty, and thriving. I'm so excited to be rocking this shirt. So if you are in your 20s, if you're reaching 30, if you're looking for some advice, I definitely have some for you. Or if you are past your 30s and you would like to chime in and just kind of see if you relate or drop any comments with advice for anyone else, that would be great. So basically what I want to talk to you about is how I spent my 30th birthday, because it was very unexpected, and also just reflecting on where my life has been to get me here to 30. So I have got to say that I am really excited to be set up here in my camper house. As we touched on last week, I am officially down in Kentucky. I sold my house and we're living in the camper now, which is great. It's very different, but I'm making it work and it's kind of interesting. I'm also really enjoying it not having to go to a 9-to-5 job for the first time in a really long time. I have worked 2 jobs since I was 21, and up to 4 jobs even, to try and pay my bills and support myself. So to be able to not have to wear a dress shirt and dress pants and heels and put makeup on and do my hair is wonderful. So with that being said, that's why I kind of want to say, hey, this is why maybe my appearance looks a little bit different, but that's okay. It's good to know that you look great without even having to put a lot of effort in. So, yeah, guys, I turned 30 on Saturday. Woohoo! It was the ultimate birthday. Let me tell you, well, it was going to be the ultimate birthday is what I should say. I have had this vision in my mind of what turning 30 was going to be like. And the reason I was so excited is because it was on a Saturday, which having your birthday on the weekend is just fantastic as it is. And it's my 30th. And it's also, drumroll, my golden birthday. Golden freaking birthday. So I just had this whole thing in my mind about what I wanted to do for this day. Celebrate with all my friends, have a big party, just go all out. And of course, March rolls around and COVID shows up, and it's not possible to celebrate anyone's birthdays when you're supposed to stay at home. So I was super bummed, along with being really bummed for my other girlfriends whose parties got canceled. But anyway, I was watching and waiting as things were starting to change. We were getting into the beginning of May, and they were talking about May 26th being the end of that, but things started happening earlier. And May 11th, more places were starting to open up, which was really exciting. And then, of course, as I shared again last episode, everything changed as it was. And I ended up moving before my birthday. So I celebrated with my friends from a distance with a lot of their posts and phone calls and whatnot. It was really nice. But since I was down in Kentucky, I'm only a couple hours away from Nashville, so of course that was on my agenda, which made me really excited to see a lot of the bars start opening up May 11th. So I told my mom, guess what we're doing for my birthday? You're going to Nashville with me. My mom has never been. I've been a couple times before, and being only a 2-hour drive, like, heck yes, why not go? So I woke up for my birthday. And I said, you know what, Mom, a lot of places in Nashville are still closed that I would like to see. Like the Grand Ole Opry, Country Music Hall of Fame, those things were still closed. So I said, you know what, instead of staying for the night, why don't we just get, down there for the day and hang out, listen to music, and then drive back home. So that is exactly what we did. We got ready in the morning. We rolled into town about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, got some food at Dierks Bentley's bar, which was phenomenal. We actually got a chance to listen to Connor Sweets. So great country artist. If you have not heard of him, he has a phenomenal song out right now on Spotify. So plug to him for any of my music lovers. And we were inside Tootsies when I noticed some police officers making their presence known, and they were in and out talking to the staff, which was interesting. And I just from the conversations they were having, I decided to Google protests in Nashville, and sure enough, I saw that they had one planned. So we ended up going on the rooftop, and down on the street there was the protest. It was very peaceful. You barely even heard anything. The cops were lined up just making sure everything was safe, but no problems. Like, it was the way it should be. No rioting, peaceful protests, moved on their way. So we just kept listening to music, went about our business along with everyone else. It was very minimal crowds in the bars. They were working really hard to do the social distancing. You had to be sitting down. If you were caught standing anywhere, you were asked to leave. So if the stools were filled, then the bar was full. And there was absolutely no bar service. You weren't allowed to just hang out at the bar and get drinks. You had to be sitting down. So it was actually really nice to be able to sit in the bar, have room, and actually enjoy the bar, enjoy the music, take in what was on the walls, the different history, especially at a bar like Tootsies. And for me, being 5'1", when you are that short, in big crowds, you constantly get elbows to the face, to the boob. It's not fun to be in super crowded places, but it does have its advantages because you can like duck in and out through people. So kind of a catch-22, but regardless, it was really nice to have it limited capacity. So we were sitting and listening to Morgan Fraser. She came on, and we found out, well, my mom actually recognized her from being on The Voice in 2015, and Morgan has since become a duet with another female, and they're calling themselves Roxanne. And these girls were fire. Absolute, utter fire. They rocked out to Pat Benatar, Bonnie Tyler, Fleetwood Mac, Metallica, and then Shania Twain, whatever, that kind of country. They were all over the place. It was so fantastic. We were having the best time. It was getting to be about the time that we needed to leave anyway. We were going to listen to one more song. The girls just kind of shouted in the crowd, "Hey, does anybody like Keith Urban?" And of course, everybody hooted and hollered. And then all of a sudden, like in the middle of the song, the mic cuts, "Get out, everybody be safe, goodbye." And we're looking at each other like, what the heck's going on? What is happening? Very confused, but just like that, everybody left, which, again, very thankful that it wasn't at max capacity because there was no like stampede or anyone hurt. Everybody just left really smoothly, really quietly. But it was very shocking though. We didn't really understand what was going on until we got down on the street and heard like they were shutting Broadway down immediately because that peaceful protest had turned not peaceful. So this is where this day, I'm going to pause. This day was perfect. I had so much fun. I was wished happy birthday so many times. The band sang me happy birthday. Random people on the street walking by. Everyone was so polite. And this was of all ages. From little children all the way up. And it didn't matter what sex, what race you were. Everyone got along. And we had the best afternoon in downtown. And then all of a sudden, it just changes. It completely changed by the time nightfall rolled around. And fast forward, now we're on the street. It's 10 o'clock. Bars are shut down. People are passing us on the sidewalk, and they're like, well, what's going on? You know, we're hungry. We want to go to Broadway and get some food. And we're like, no, you can't actually. It's shut down. And we ran into a family on the sidewalk. We were at the intersection waiting for the light to change. And they were trying to get to their hotel kind of frantic because the police were starting to get lined up. And they had been in St. Louis the night before and were evacuated from their hotel because of the rioting. So here they are again running into kind of a scary situation. So we said our goodbyes, went through the crosswalk, and we're walking up to our car. And I just put my arm out and I grabbed my mom and because she was looking off in a different direction and I was looking up past the car, and all I saw was just this mass of people. And now I'm shook. For the first time, all of a sudden this is real because it is literally right in front of our car, and you don't know if it's friendly, if it's not, and we're starting to see outside of our car and up the sidewalk, everything's tagged. And it's, F the police, F12. It's just, everything's tagged. The police are 30 deep, lining up shoulder to shoulder, and then it's a mass of people. You couldn't really hear them, so it wasn't violent. There was no glass shattering. There wasn't anything on fire. It was just people were starting to gather, and you didn't know which way it was going to go. And thank God there was no glass shattered, because the Country Music Hall of Fame is nothing but windows. A lot of downtown Nashville is all windows. So there was nothing like that going on, but we were still what do we do? That's the direction the car is pointed. So my mom went back, asked the officers, what do we do? Can we just turn around? And they directed us very calmly, just keep going, go ahead. So we got in the car and got ourselves prepared. And I will say that we are a family that supports the Second Amendment. So at all times, we're prepared. Legally, of course, and safely. So we just got ourselves situated and then went past the gathering of people. And then it was shit, we forgot that we needed to get gas. So I pull into the closest gas station, and I still don't know if anybody happened to be in Nashville or knows what's going on. Please comment, because we did not know if this gas station right off of Broadway was the gathering of everyone that went and looted downtown, or if they were a vigilante. But it was mass amounts of people gathering at this gas station on crotch rockets and cars. This was the place. A secret message went out on Facebook and everybody said, hey, get together here. I don't know what the code word was. I didn't ask. I kind of wanted to, but I figured I better not. I'll just keep my mouth shut. But again, nothing was going on. There was no yelling. There was no shouting. But the helicopters were going overhead, which I believe I later found out that they were the newscasters. And my mom's pumping gas, and all of a sudden my phone alerts that ear-piercing emergency alert noise. And it's the mayor in Nashville saying, evacuate, emergency, 10 p.m. curfew, shut down. So it's oh God, okay, we need to get out of here. This is not good. This is not good. Because at any moment, something like Minneapolis could have broke out. We don't know. You don't know what's going to happen. So thankfully we got out of there very safely, very peacefully, got back on the highway. There were cops coming in down the highway. They were shutting down some exits. And then once we got home, we saw on the news that they had broken down to Broadway and looted like the Boot Barn and the candy store. And it is mind-blowing that hours before, we literally walked into Margaritaville, walked out. The stage was another bar. We walked in, walked out. And it was just, we just kept thinking to ourselves, like, in a bar like Tootsies, 30 years ago, Tootsies was one of 3 bars on Broadway when Steve Smith first bought it. And the history in those walls, and to think of something happening to it is just heartbreaking. I mean, it's devastating as it is to think of a business getting destroyed. But when it comes, you know, there's certain things you can replace, where those types of memories, those autographs, those photos are not replaceable. So thankfully things got shut down pretty quietly in Nashville, and nobody got hurt by the sounds of it. Everybody made it out okay. But let me tell you, for a small town girl, like, this is a lot. Like, this is crazy. This is crazy for anyone. You know, I was just expecting to, like, go to the bar, have some drinks, listen to music, celebrate my big day. And it was a lot. It was very terrifying. And it is definitely a birthday that I will never forget. And it's a first trip to Nashville that I know my mom's never going to forget. So it is definitely a memorable birthday, you guys. That is for absolutely sure. So that is what happened. That is how I spent my 30th birthday. And like I said, there was a lot of good in the day. I felt so special. I was seriously on cloud 9 the entire day just because of everyone's kindness. And that is the world that I like to pretend I live in, is that world where, you know, you sit next to a family with little kids and we all get along and everyone's safe and you don't have to worry. So that is what I'm hoping eventually happens in this world. Would be really nice. I've been thinking a lot about my 20-year-old self. And if I could just go back in time and whisper in the ear of my 20-year-old self, like, girlfriend, you are going to wake up on your 30th birthday in Kentucky. You're going to go to Nashville. And oh, by the way, it's going to be in the middle of a global pandemic and mass riots. Like, prepare. Good luck, girl. I would love to see the look on my face. Like, would I be shocked? Would I be excited? Would I be in disbelief? I just think about where I was at 20 compared to where I am now, and it's just, it's crazy. And it's allowed me to do a lot of reflecting, which, like I said, that's part of this. Is I, of course, wanted to share my day because it's just not your average birthday, by any means, not your average birthday. And also just to touch on where I was 10 years ago in a different decade.